back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And Nancy's here from the Artesia DWI Task Force. How are you doing today?
Just really great, obviously, since this is not my scheduled day to be here, but here I am, and he's going to anyway.
We've got about 10 minutes here, so we're happy to do that. We were talking before we went on the air. I was given this VCR tape.
Yes.
And I think it's it's the complete series of a TV series, a made-for-TV miniseries.
Oh, okay.
On the Kennedys. Because I looked up one series here, and the length of time matches. There was one, it came out in 1983 called Kennedy. And it's the biography of the 61 to 63 presidency of John F. Kennedy. John Shea plays Kennedy. E.G. Marshall plays Joseph P. Kennedy. Geraldine Fitzgerald is Rose Kennedy. Andrew Radin plays John F. Kennedy Jr. Kevin Conroy plays Ted Kennedy. Charles Brown is Martin Luther King Jr. Nesbitt Blaisdell is Lyndon Baines Johnson. And it's got a 7.9 rating. And it came out back, like I said, in 1983. And I was just looking at the time element, and I think that's what that is. I think that is the complete series, TV miniseries, Kennedy, that came out in 1983.
Well, it would be awesome to watch if you just had a VCR that could play it with a smart TV and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to watch.
Well, when I finish the rest of my schedule of all the other things I have to do and I have a little extra time left over, I'm going to see if I can find a VCR.
I just sit here and decide I'm going to do this next time. But
yeah. Well, what would you like to talk about today? I know you've been working on what you have there.
Well, as I was just saying, I think I'm going to, because I want to spend a little bit of time with this. Mm-hmm. And I know your time is short today since you weren't expecting me to come in. And obviously, I can't even read my calendar. So what can I say?
It's okay.
But next time, I want to talk about our memorial signs that are along the roads and the history of it.
Okay.
Went back to the beginning and looked at it, and so I have all the history of why those signs are there, who has them. There's some on private property as well, which is on the highway, but there's reasons why they're no longer on the highway and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, they're not on the highway anymore?
No, they're not on highway right away at all.
Okay.
And I'll leave that for next time. I'll let you just hold on and wait, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay. So when did this project begin?
It started in 1998.
Okay.
So it's been around a long time, and basically, I'll just throw this out there. Basically, Eddy County decided to go ahead. Hey, wait a minute, we want to keep doing this. All the rest of the state had to take their signs down. So Eddy County, our program got in touch with the commissioners, and they said, sure. So they took over the program, and now you see the signs out on county roads. And there are four signs that are on private property that are a little bit larger, mm-hmm. that are about to get a revamp. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you because I'm excited about this. It's mm-hmm. The Smithsonian Institute in 2011 contacted us because they were doing a program, a special display and everything of American history that's collecting automotive safety objects for a planned exhibit.
Okay.
So they went all over the country, and then they chose our program to with the signs, and they came and got one of the signs and used in the display. So that was pretty exciting during that time. I mean, for a little Eddy County in southeastern New Mexico to get chosen.
Sure.
That was a good thing.
Now, the signs have a picture of someone who is no longer with us.
Right.
Did they die because of a drunk driver?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, there are no, it's only the ones that are victims.
Okay.
That are on the signs. So they started it, and then we started putting pictures on the signs with their permission, and then they decided to, like I said a minute ago, just scrap the whole program.
The state did?
The state did, and they have this thing that if you have something going on here, it has to be statewide if you're
Okay.
using state property.
Okay.
So, which is another reminder, don't put anything on the right-of-ways unless you have some pretty powerful okays on it, because it's just not allowed. I mean, if you're going to go put up like political signs or something like that, don't do it. Because it's just not allowed, or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
But that's all over
So,
there,
so since the state dropped the program and they're not putting them up anywhere,
Right.
Eddy County, even though the county commissioner stepped up and said, no, we want to do this,
Right.
it's not allowed on a state
It's not
highway.
allowed on the state. You'll only find them on county roads. There's actually one on my street and one on 13th Street where you can see them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and read these names
Oh, yeah. No, you have time. You have time.
that are on these signs that you will see around, and don't just pass them by and not give another thought. These are family members, mothers, daughters. There's one that's was killed on her anniversary, or wedding anniversary. D. Robert Harvey's out there. We all know what happened to him. And okay, Isaiah and Freddie Carrillo, Barbara Howell, James Martin, Richard Pettit, D. Robert Harvey, Bobby King, Julius Barnett, Cody Walker, Susan Bennett, Christy Patterson, Christopher Carrasco, Mo Ingram, Kevin Rhodes, Lee Britton, Robert Hurd, Rachel Hernandez. And then on the bigger signs that we have on private property is Devin Smith. That one is on North 285. D. Robert Harvey's South 285, and Ashley Richards is on West 82. You can see their signs, and they're about to get a facelift and some new pictures put on them. Same people, new pictures, but we're going to get the area around cleaned up, because all of our awesome rain last year provided lots of weeds and stuff. So
Yeah.
and repaint the signs to make them look good.
Yeah.
So
But they have to be on county roads, or they have to be on private property.
Right.
They can't be on the state highway
Right.
right-of-way anymore.
yeah,
So-
Cindy sent me on an adventure to find these signs.
Okay.
And find out who the owners are. So it was kind of interesting, because I'd seen them, but I hadn't really made a mental note of it. And when I finally found the owners of the property, I knew them.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking, one of them, we pulled up in the driveway, and the owner pulled up behind me.
Yeah.
And
What are you doing here?
and it took us probably 2 hours longer than it should have for visiting. And
Yeah.
I had my grandkids with me, and they're thinking, is this ever going to, what are we doing? We're just sitting in the car driving all over the place.
Yeah.
And Mimi's running here and there and everywhere. And it was interesting. It was a fun little trip.
Well, I'm
but-
glad you have property owners that are willing
Yes.
to participate and do that, because
Yes.
that's an important message that people need to be reminded of. And I guess the state has their reasons, because I guess you could go to other parts of the state and other people could want signs for something totally different.
Yeah,
and because they allow that here, they'd have to allow
Right.
whatever that is
Right.
there. So I can, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can understand.
I understand, and
yeah.
you can't have different rules for everybody, or you're just going to have a big mess.
Yeah.
But if you are a property owner on North 26th Street someplace, and I didn't bring the number, try to get in touch with me or Cindy in Carlsbad. It's in the phone book.
Under the
And-
DWI task force.
Because we have 2 new signs we need to put up, and we would like to put one up out in that area because of the young man that was killed. He got in a car with a drunk driver, and have it in close proximity of all of that, just to remind people, if you know your driver's drunk, don't get in that car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just use some wisdom, because that's not the only one, and it happens way too often. So just call us and let us know if you would allow us to put one of those signs up on your property, and we'll take care of the sign and won't be going in and out all the time. I think I'm probably the first person that trooped through the weeds and stuff to check on these signs.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was quite an interesting.
So did you find all of the ones that were known to be out there?
I did.
Okay, so every single one was accounted for.
Yes, and one of them was actually, I was standing there thinking, I'm looking around thinking, wow, this is where I met my husband.
Wow.
So it was kind of a wow, like just wow. I'm going.
Yeah.
So I got in the car and said, "This is where I met your grandpa." Well, what were you doing here, Mimi? And all these questions started coming. And
but you got to tell the story.
I got to tell the story.
Yeah.
Because they're all out in the country. And Mimi, what were you doing out here meeting some guy you didn't know? And my oldest granddaughter, that was her question. Well, the rest is history. I'm sorry, just leave it right there.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, who hasn't seen the signs? I mean, we've all seen them.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't notice that they weren't on the state highway anymore.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there, so I didn't notice that they weren't there. But.
And those 4 signs are just on the other side of the fence, so you can see them, and that could be kind of confusing too. But the other ones haven't been there since, what did I say, when they changed it, or did I? In 2011.
Okay.
Is when they changed them all over.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that's continuing. And again, if you have some property on North 26th, and maybe there's some other places around the area that you would like to nominate or have available, if a future project, a sign in the future is requested, and
if you have any of those names that I listed, if you have any questions, you'll need to call Cindy about where they're located. Maybe you want to go put flowers. I noticed that the one down the street from me has flowers every now and then, and they just attach them to the post or put them in the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as when your dead flowers are dead, go back and clean up around there, and perfectly welcome.
Yeah.
To go. And as you drive by, just stop and think that person was killed by a drunk driver or an impaired driver, whichever one.
Yeah.
There's a reason for them. Pictures says 1,000 words.
Very impactful when you see that, and it makes you sad. It makes you mad, but hopefully it makes you think.
Yes, makes you aware.
Makes you aware. That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Well, now I'm going to have to come up with something on my real day, huh?
No. I'm glad you came in. And what we're joking about, folks, is that Nancy comes in on the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays, and today is the 4th Tuesday, and so when
this month was just too long.
Yeah,
just spread out.
It's been a crazy start to the year.
It has been
already.
It has.
I don't know if it's any more crazy or less crazy than the last 2 years. Or last year, but start to the year. But I am so mad at the Chinese.
We all should be. And things need to change, and some people need to be held accountable for some things.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, we were on a roll. I mean, the country was doing great. People were going to work. We were on a roll. And then that blasted China virus came around the world and has just
it just needs to go away, whatever variant or whatever it is. We were talking about this. We're trying to clean out my husband's storage container. And that man never threw anything away in 44 years. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And I've run across, and there's a couple of those in there, and and I know they don't work anymore. And I'm thinking,
it's time to go.
My daughter is helping me, and every once in a while she'll come out and she'll hold this up. But, Mom, I don't know. I don't know. And he, working out in the oil field, if he saw a tool laying beside the road, he'd stop and pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even know how many wrenches we have.
Wow.
I thought, were we going to start a shop or what? What were we going to do this?
That's true.
Well, I'll see you next time.
Nancy, thank you so much. And
That would be
again, if
next-
anybody has any questions about where the signs are now, or they want to say, hey, I've got some property that you know, at some point you could use for a sign, just call Nancy or call Cindy at the Eddie County DWI Task Force.
Yes, it's in Carlsbad. Yes.
So, excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
I guess I'll see you next week.
We will. All